Would it be fair to let men compete in women's sports? Many of you would say no because men have a physical advantage, especially in contact sports where physicality and athleticism are highly important. Well, this exact situation is occurring, and many want to let it go on. Biological men or transgender women are competing in women's sports and taking away women's opportunities. I think it is wrong to let these biological men or transgender women compete in women's sports and continue to take away women's opportunities, achievements, and even take away some of their athletic scholarships. I have done extensive research and used credible sources to back up my stance. I think we need to address this problem because women shouldn't have to take the back seat in their own sport. We need to end this unfair situation and not let biological men continue to compete in women's sports. Sports are separated by sex for a reason, because men have a physical advantage and the separation allows for a fair and competitive environment. Another option is to create another division for trans athletes. This option would allow them to compete without unfairly dominating the women's division and taking away their achievements. My main point is that biological men have physical advantages and therefore should not be allowed to compete against women in the women's division. According to Springer Link, men have larger, denser muscle mass, stronger connective tissue, which creates the capacity to exert more muscular force. Men also have reduced fat mass, better distribution of fat and lean muscle, which increases power to weight ratio and increases your upper and lower body strength. Men have longer and larger skeletal structure, which creates advantages, especially in sports such as powerlifting. Men have superior cardiovascular and respiratory function. According to Washington.edu, men have larger VO2 max due to the fact that women have more body fat, less hemoglobin, which is a protein that carries oxygen in our blood, and smaller hearts. Men have 20 times more testosterone than women after puberty. This causes men to have stronger bones, greater muscle mass, and greater strength. All of these advantages are inherent and cannot be changed by things such as hormone replacement therapy. Hormone replacement therapy does not take away these advantages, it only lowers the testosterone levels, but not enough to be significant. The International Olympic Committee dictates that trans must have testosterone levels of 289 nanograms per deciliter or less. But 99% of women have testosterone levels of 87 nanograms per deciliter or less. The NCAA has no testosterone limit for transgender athletes. It only requires that there is documented proof of testosterone suppression for 1 year before competing. These problems have come to light with Leah Thomas. Leah Thomas is a transgender woman athlete in NCAA swimming. She won the 500-yard race after previously breaking Ivy League records in the 100, 200, and 500. Her winning takes away from the actual biological woman competing in NCAA swimming. Leah Thomas's best time before her hormone replacement therapy and transition was 4 minutes and 18 seconds. This did not even qualify her for the men's NCAA championships while she was competing in the men's division. Leah's time after her transition was 4 minutes and 32 seconds. This might seem like a significant drop, and it is a 6% drop, but the average difference of men and female swimmer times in the NCAA is 11%. So when competing against men, as a biological man, Leah Thomas placed 554th in the 200 meter, 65th in the 500 meter, and 32nd in the 1,650 meter. But when she transitioned as a transgender woman and competed against women, she placed 5th, 1st, and 8th in those respective events. There are other examples in sports such as powerlifting, track, and cycling. Trans cyclist Rachel McKinnon won 2 straight world championships and broke the world record in the 200-meter race. Transgender woman track athlete Cece Telfer won the 400-meter hurdle in the NCAA championship, but she was not even a top 200 in this event when she was competing against men. In 2019, trans powerlifter Mary Gregory broke women's master squat record, open world bench record, masters world deadlift record, and masters total record all in one meet. These examples show that men who aren't very successful in their sport when they're competing with their own biological sex can switch and compete against the other biological sex and absolutely dominate. My solution of having these biological men continue to compete in the men's division would prevent these unfair examples that I've shared. Dividing sport by sex has always worked and should never change. If we must, we can create another division for trans athletes. We can have one for trans men and trans women, and this would give them a place to have fair, competitive, and be able to compete fairly. This way, we are not stripping opportunity from actual biological women. In conclusion, we have talked about facts that show that men are physically more capable of doing things than women. They have physical advantages over women. Gender replacement surgery and hormone replacement therapy does not turn a man into a biological woman. Biological men will always have anatomical advantages over women. That will never change, no matter what kind of surgery or hormones you take. If we allow this to continue happening, it will make women suffer and could spread into our own community and affect our local sports and even women in our community. Women should not have to take the back seat in their own sports. We need to protest against these biological men unfairly competing in women's sports and advocate for women athletes who deserve better than to be stripped of opportunity from biological men.